All right, why don't we get cranking? Connor, are you here? Mm-mm. Let me just. Connor, are you with us? I'm just texting him again. All right, while we're waiting for him, does anyone have any questions or anything they want to talk about? Oh, there's Connor. We got him. Let me pin him. There we go. How you doing, buddy?
Hey Jordy, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
We got you, man. Thanks for coming
Nice.
on.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So we'll get cranking, everyone. Thank you. They're all just coming back from lunch now. But we got amazing guests for you. We have Connor Findley out of Amazon. He's a senior program manager there. Spent 5+ years with the Army, went to West Point, um, operations officer. And are you down in Nashville? Do I have that right?
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
am.
All right. Music City. I love it. But Connor, thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate you coming to share your story. These are all transitioning military vets getting ready for their next chapter. A lot of them are trying to figure out what path is gonna, they want to follow in this next chapter.
Mm.
Some of them haven't figured out, but just hearing from you about what you went through, what your transition was like, advice you have for them, is going to be super helpful. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell everyone a little bit about growing up and joining the military. What was that like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, Jordy, thanks for having me, and for everyone on the call, thanks for your time. Yeah, looking forward to speaking with everybody, share my story, and hopefully help out a few people. I'll start from maybe the beginning. Military wasn't something that I always aspired to do. It just kind of happened. And yeah, I found myself at West Point for undergrad. And with that, for those who know the program, it comes with a 5-year military obligation. And so I was stationed in Fort Hood. I did a year overseas, and then came back to Fort Hood and finished up my time at the Great Place. And I was an air defense artillery officer, specifically working with the Patriot missile system. ADA was good to me. My last 2 years of active duty time was spent on core staff at Fort Hood, doing um, like resiliency training, working as an ops manager for the installation, and so that was really rewarding as well. For me, I always knew business was something that I wanted to venture off into, be a member of corporate America. And so I went the education route, post-military. I pursued an MBA from Indiana University at the time, and I think they still do. They had a very cool hybrid education program. Most of my classes were online, and I was knocking them out during active duty time. I had to take maybe a week or two of leave to go up for some in-person case studies. and I was able to knock out maybe 75% while still in the military, and then finished up grad school after transitioning out. During that time, I had actually done a summer internship with Amazon, and this was through my MBA program, uh, lined up with my terminal leave. So I had not taken advantage of some of the transitioning programs that many installations offer. You're probably familiar with any SkillBridge or CSP program, if those are still around. But I just went through my education program. Amazon was a really good co company to me at the beginning. That the internship was everything that I wanted, just to kind of see if I was a good fit. It was a good fit for me. And then the offer was contingent upon me finishing up grad school. So I went back, finished up school, and then accepted the return offer. So I've been at Amazon for about 2 years now. Like Jordy said, I'm a senior program manager. I work within our global security org. So we do anything from physical security measures, technology solutions, all the um, like hardwired cameras that we have in our facilities, to badge readers and security gates at the front of facilities, to guarding mechanisms, so managing the contracts for our third-party guarding partners at our warehouses and fulfillment centers and sortation centers and the likes. So it's been kind of neat staying in the security um, operations area. I've met a ton of veterans in this space, so it's been kind of a familiar setting as far as getting to know other veterans, other law enforcement folks, all coming from a relatively similar background and supporting a brand new mission, which is, delivering packages to the customer. So that's been really neat. I would say, just in hindsight, my transition was relatively successful because of some of the mentors that I had. I really leveraged folks going uh, leaving the military at the same time as me, sharing best practices. What um, mil to civ mentorship program are you looped in to? How are you leveraging LinkedIn? Some of the other tools at your disposal. So leveraging the mentorship system, but both from those in the same kind of walks of life, or transitioning phase as you are, and those who've done it before you. I would say, from my experience, the military community is extremely eager to help out those who maybe in, the shoes we were in several years ago. And so, informational interviews, reaching out to folks on platforms like LinkedIn or through mutual connections, allowed me to information gather, learn about a company that I was interested in, an industry or space that I was interested in. And so I might pause there, Jordy, unless there's any pointed questions, and just see if there's anything else that I might be able to get into today.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that little bit of the story. That's great. How did you know you wanted to do that internship with Amazon? Like, was it specifically in the same department you're working now, or was it a different department?
The internship that I took was in security and loss prevention, which is the kind of the same space of Amazon that I'm currently in. I didn't necessarily select it. I just signed up for, or applied for, a summer MBA program manager role. And they put me in here. Maybe they thought it was a good fit, or they've seen veterans succeed in this global security org in the past. I had not really considered Amazon. It's a huge company. I think, behind uh, USPS, which technically I guess isn't private. Like, we're one of the biggest employers in the country. Maybe Walmart has more employees. But it's just a massive org. And but I hadn't considered it. I met a classmate in grad school who was an aviation officer. Um, and he had worked for Amazon in the past. We were just connecting on like the military connection level, and it came up in conversation. He had a good experience at Amazon, and would recommend applying to the internship programs, and I'm
Did
glad I did.
did you did the internship when you were a vet? So was it paid or unpaid?
I was technically still active duty. I was
Okay,
on terminal leave, which allowed me to accept compensation for my internship time. Um, and so yeah, it was about 2.5 months of paid student internship time.
that's great. And do you feel like that gave you the edge in getting hired
I
permanently?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't have a recommendation or lead into the Amazon application process. I just went on amazonjobs.com and or maybe
Yeah,
jobs.amazon.com and applied to the summer MBA internship job requisition and went through the process that way. Nowadays, I don't know what our hiring landscape looks like at the moment, but I would recommend if you have a lead or connection within the organization, maybe reach out for a
yeah.
referral. I think those I don't know what it does at my company, but other companies I've heard it might get you an interview or something like that. So yeah, I would certainly recommend leveraging your network.
When you were interning there, what did you know, all right, I want to have this as my permanent job when I'm done? And if so, what did you do to stand out?
Yeah, I did throughout the internship. I learned what was giving me a lot of fulfillment, and what I was really looking for in my first post military job. And for me, I had just gotten married, and we were considering um, leaving the Austin area. I was living in Austin, commuting up to Fort Hood at the time, and so a really good exercise to do when considering your next role is to maybe create some sort of matrix or weighting chart and rack and stack some of the characteristics of a job that you might be looking for. And so if location, work-life balance, compensation, benefits, et cetera, maybe growth potential, et cetera, might be some of those that come to mind at the moment. Where do these lie? Against each other. And if location's really important and you want to stay in one spot or find something in a destination, then maybe weight that like 50% and go from there. Um, and so anyways, I had done this kind of internal exercise. Um, Amazon with the experience that I had, the job rec was tied to Nashville, aligned with what my wife and I were looking for. It did meet the criteria. And then as far as like how to stand out, again, for me, being an intern, it's kind of like a 2.5 month interview, I guess, if you will. And so just having that conversation with your hiring manager, who as an intern will likely be your boss or your kind of like internship buddy at the time. And just doing frequent checkpoints. Maybe we do quarterly counseling in the military. I would recommend maybe in the private sector doing more frequent touch points just to get some feedback that you can action on immediately. So either a daily huddle or a designated weekly sync with the key stakeholders that are going to be decision makers in your hiring process may be beneficial. And that's what I did with a couple stakeholders that I knew were going to be involved in the hiring process and just getting some feedback. It's not about does this person know everything that they need to do starting day one, but how trainable are they? And I think as veterans, we're incredibly trainable and coachable. And do they receive the feedback, adjust as necessary? Are they open to learning new skills, maybe unlearning some of the things that have been drilled into us in the military, and be a real value add to the organization?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, listen, you're working for one of the best companies in the world. I imagine the competition for that permanent job is incredible. I can't imagine how many thousands of people you were being considered against. I mean, did you have any I mean, were you letting your intern boss know along the way, hey, I really want to be here, and were you were going above and beyond what they asked to stand out? Um or what were some of the things that you did differently than the next guy? Because
Yeah, it probably is a more competitive landscape now. I think job market's tight. Yeah, two and a half-ish years ago, it was still tight. Coming out of COVID, there was a lot of demand for big tech roles, especially given what we had back then was a little bit more remote flexibility. Now we're in office. Um, but yeah, it probably was competitive. I would say, yeah, it's not bad to show a little bit of your hand, as far as interest in the job, and I made that clear to my boss, that I was interested, and um, standing out. Everybody is going to bring something different to the table, showcasing your skill set um, against others. I, me personally, I wouldn't recommend like a what can I do better than X who's standing next to me applying for the same thing. If you're not a good fit, you're not a good fit. Um, but yeah, but for me, I just really like internalizing what benefit and what value add you can bring to the table. If you're very good with people, you like to lead teams, then great. Make sure you showcase that or ask to be on a project that allows you to showcase that. If you're very good at working independently, don't need a lot of guidance, maybe left and right limits from your boss, and you're good with taking action. Um, Find a project that allows you to demonstrate that. So I think just like knowing your strengths, working off of that, being collaborative against your team with your teammates, and then just checking in with your boss, or project stakeholders, and asking for consistent feedback really helped.
Yeah, that's good. Demario, you got a question for Connor?
How you doing, Connor? Thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Amazon being such a large company, as you stated earlier, a large organization, are there any, and first off, my background and understanding of Amazon is they run kind of like a military style rank structure in a sense, um, from what I've been told. How do they have like placement tests to kind of give you an idea of what your strong suits would be, things like that, as far as the different as far as the different jobs that they do offer?
That's an excellent question. I don't know truthfully about a placement test. I may recommend um, searching for an Amazon recruiter on LinkedIn and pinging them if there are resources like that. Um, the jobs.amazon site may have some resources as well. You're right about the kind of tiered or organizational structure that Amazon has. It's yeah, I would say it's similar to the military as far as um like position titles, we are like pay bands, um would be like, the military is like E1 through, E10 and O1 through O10. We've got like L levels, L1 through I think L12. Um, Andy Jassy, our CEO, L12. And so there are some similarities that you can kind of play off of and connect in your mind and say, I think I understand how the org operates. As far as what uh competency levels or experience levels that you might bring, is there some sort of assessment that can quickly say you might be a good fit here? I don't know, but I would recommend reaching out to a recruiter to discuss.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
What's Warriors at Amazon? Is that like
Yeah,
an employee group?
absolutely. So most companies probably offer very similar um groups, or like,
Resource groups,
yeah,
employee
resource
resource group.
groups.
Yeah.
At Amazon, we call these affinity groups. And we've got a handful, to really just allow a quick connection point amongst diverse groups within the organization. Warriors at Amazon, branded with the on the shirt that I'm wearing today, is the military one at Amazon. And I can just share, it was a really nice group uh to learn about on day one at Amazon, because it just gives you a really just immediate um feeling of familiarity and connection. We've got affinity groups at all of our sites, all of our corporate offices, and each chapter will do, different events. The Warriors at Amazon in the Nashville market is tremendous. They'll lead, charity events, kind of like ruck marches or like strolls downtown to support some sort of charity. They'll plan like music concerts that benefit veterans in the area. Um, and it's just been really neat to be part of the program and part of an organization that
Yeah,
values your background.
that's great. Richard, you got a question?
Yes, sir. Connor, thank you for hopping on the call this morning.
Mhm.
I had a question regarding your degree and why you went and pursued an MBA at Indiana. Because when I'm looking at your LinkedIn, it says that you're very, very, I guess you have a high level degree from a high level academy, at West Point with a business background and a lot of extracurriculars that you did. Why did you end up pursuing that MBA in the first place?
Sure. Yeah, great question. And typically I've got my diploma behind me. I just moved, so I've got a incredibly bare wall behind me. My coworkers tell me they like what I've done with the place. But I'm just like 6 days into relocating. Indiana University was the only program that offered what I was looking for, and that was like hybrid or remote flexibility in an MBA that offered very very competitive classes, um, like vigorous academia, had kind of brand name recognition, had good athletics as well, like cheering on the team that you represent on an education basis. And so uh, that's why I chose Indiana. I think the question is more geared towards do was there a reason you pursued like higher education when you already had a an undergrad degree? And for me, I always like business stuff. Personal finance is a huge interest of mine. I've tried to keep the tools sharp enough to one day enter the private sector post-military. I just felt like at that time, about like a year or so prior to transitioning out of the military, going back to education might be a really good either stepping stool to a higher position, um, or just a great transitioning tool to really kind of launch my post-military career. Not that 6 years after undergrad, I would have forgotten anything, but I never had any practical applications of some of the things that I learned in undergrad. And so coming out of the military, um, a lot of what we do is applicable and you can translate it into civilian terms, but not everything might be. The industry specific or industry dependent rather, but some of the time that we spend in the motor pool PMCSing um, and like making sure our equipment is good to go, the attention to detail, the processes that we identify, et cetera, are applicable. But the actual like performing maintenance on a truck may not be. And so I felt like I needed to kind of make up for some lost time as far as um, practical knowledge that I can apply. The barrier that I felt uh, was I now had, 5 or 6 years of military experience. I was in for about 5.5. Um, and then 4 years of undergrad and then 2 years of grad school. I was kind of heavy on the formal education piece and less and a little light on the business application, practical, like hands-on experience in industry. But I took my chances with going the education route, and I really enjoyed my time there. The other bit I'll just add, I know this is a long answer to a simple question. Um, but meeting other folks in my education program was a huge plus. Um, Indiana University in particular, or at least my class, was maybe 5 or 10% military. We did have a handful of other veterans or other active duty folks in the program, but the other 90+% of my classmates were were working professionals in other industries. So I got to connect immediately through my classes, through on-campus case study classes, etc., with management consultants, investment bankers, folks, engineers, marketeers. I mean, folks in all facets of the private sectors. And that was really neat because I truthfully didn't know exactly what I wanted to do post-military. And so connecting with my classmates, learning about their experience was incredibly helpful.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. Nathan.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hey, cool to hear about the ADA operations officer making it at Amazon. I'm just retiring out of being a wing director of operations, so worked a lot in my last deployment with the Army ADA guys, kind of hand in hand with the S3. So I'm kind of like a brigade level, I don't know, S3, G3, something like that. What do you think that experience is something that Amazon is interested in? It sounds like pretty close to what you're doing. You think it was more your experience, or sounds like it was maybe a lot of the internship? Because I've got a master's, but it's in like theology. It's I only have a bachelor's in like organizational leadership. So I guess one, do you think I'd be a good fit at Amazon without doing a whole nother degree program? And two, how do you think the culture is, and how much should we like want to pursue Amazon as a company?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of good points here. Firstly, this is Connor's take. I don't think that the discipline of one's uh, education studies, undergrad, grad focus um, necessarily needs to be in line with the role that you might be pursuing. I I work with some incredibly bright people um, who used to be plumbers or handymen or engineers, and now they're doing like security operations, program management. In my grad school, I met a chemical engineer who was using her MBA to become an investment banker. I mean, it's just there's probably some stat out there that says 10, 20% of professionals actually do something that aligns with their undergrad studies. I don't know what that stat is, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody told me that. Um, and so, yeah, I think it's um, what what are you good at? What are you passionate about? Because you gotta like what you're doing. Um, the culture at Amazon, yeah, like I alluded to at the beginning, isn't do you have necessarily the skills today to accomplish this task, but are you willing to get those skills or partner with the right people? I think that in the military, we um we don't necessarily have a like um we've got a lot of good frameworks to work off of. We we don't necessarily teach in the military what to think, but how to think, kind of going back to those frameworks. And Amazon really values that. Just like there's maybe some time wasted. I think every veteran can reflect back on their time in the military and said, all that time wasted, 15 minutes prior to the 15 minutes prior, like all that stuff, the slinkying and brigade runs, like everyone's thought about how can I make X more efficient. Um, and some of those reflections that you might go through on a day-to-day basis, especially like as some sort of ops three, um, or ops manager, like program manager, kind of like military equivalent, is is really going to help you out. To answer the latter part of your question, yeah, I think the culture at Amazon's awesome for military folks. For your situation and given what I'm hearing about your experience, um, like Brigade S3 or equivalent, or just like spend a number of years in ops. We have ops manager roles that are working on in the facilities, or general managers over the entire location. Those are very good for running the entire show. In S3, you're always like tracking all the moving pieces behind the mission, all the planning that went to the upward, etc. Um, in operations or supply chain management is actually very good. There's a lot of planning to execute something, and some of our projects aren't like a 3-day FTX. They're maybe like several months to several years long. And the planning that goes into those projects is quite extensive. And just having the planning skills, and then the vision, objective, knowing the timeline, and then working backwards from there, we're very big on partnering with the right people. We have a lot of resources when it comes to cross-functional projects. So in S3, you're probably familiar with looping in legal as applicable, some of the other shops when applicable. Same thing here. Legal, safety, PR, etc. Like some of these adjacent teams may be involved in the project. So I think your background would certainly be value add to the organization, and valued by a hiring manager.
Good question. Connor, I know you work alongside some extremely talented colleagues. What are some of the skill traits, character traits, personalities that you see among the top performers there? Like, what do people have in common who are just kicking ass at Amazon?
Yeah, I'd say they're all go-getters. Um, Not a lot of people sit back and wait for things to happen. There's a lot of bias for action, which is one of our leadership principles. For those on the call that are very interested in Amazon, and are considering hitting apply on a job ID that they find very interesting, I would familiarize yourselves with our leadership principles. And you can just do a quick Google search Amazon leadership principles, and they come up. So bias for action is one of the big ones that I find very common in the folks that I work with. And I work with a lot of program managers, and I think owning a project from end to end, or owning a program of projects, and some of us own a portfolio of programs of projects. So the scope of which my teammates um, are working within can be quite large. And I think some of the planning skills that I alluded to in the previous question are huge. The ability to work collaboratively with others um, is massive. We can't do much by ourselves, and so building the connections, relationship management is very big. We we also kind of have to have backbone. We disagree a lot, and if you need to pitch a project or a solution, um, you need to have the data to back it up, and you might be met with a lot of resistance. But we're a data-driven company, so if you've done your analysis, you come to the conversation with, I we need to do X because of Y and Z. Uh, there's not a lot of pushback that you could probably receive as far as the numbers go. There might be some like guide rails that a leader puts on the project. Um, but we are data driven. So I think a little bit of technical analysis may be required in some of the roles that might be similar to mine on the program management side, just to be able to find that data. And so when I say technical skills, just to kind of like uh, explain for a moment, Microsoft Excel is an application that I use quite frequently. So being able to do relatively simple-ish functions within the application. I never did pivot tables or VLOOKUPs or anything in the military, but you can do a quick 10-minute YouTube tutorial to learn some of these skills to really use Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, etc. to your advantage. So that would be one kind of quick tidbit. The other really common attribute that I find in some of my coworkers, apart from bias for action, some of the like planning consideration experiences that I shared, would be a true obsession with the end customer. And
Mm.
part of that's also the Amazon culture. We're a customer-centric organization, but not always is the customer uh, the purchaser of the package or the subscriber of Amazon Prime. Uh, that's who we might think of as the commercial customer. But when I'm working on a project or managing a program, the customer of that project or that program or even a simple deliverable of the project, it's probably not the the individual opening up his or her door to receive a package. It's probably an internal stakeholder because I do a lot of internal work. And so the stakeholders that me personally, I'm delivering projects to might be our risk management team, our procurement team, who needs to go out and alter the contracts for our guarding vendors, as an example, and also our security and loss prevention counterparts in the field, the ones actually managing the guard teams and the security equipment at individual facilities across the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah.
And I think that just having um, that perspective that many of my colleagues do is how can I deliver a value add product to the customer, again, whatever key stakeholder you're delivering it to. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good. And when you read the customer obsession description in the Amazon Leadership Principle, it should make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, somebody put it in the chat, so you guys check that out. What was I see you in your younger days? You started your own business, Findley Brothers Entertainment. What was
That's
that?
that's right. So that was a DJ business.
Nice.
It's interesting reflecting back. Um, I didn't realize it in the time why that would be so important. But just having that entrepreneurial spirit, it's really exciting. And especially doing something fun like that
Yeah.
you get to enjoy, and you get to see other, the audience and the crowd enjoy as well. That's really fun. So that was my brother and myself. We ran that business for a number of years, and it was really cool. Not just playing the music for folks, and entertaining at events like high school parties or
Yeah.
weddings or bar mitzvahs and stuff, but also learning how to run a business at an
Yeah.
early age. Um,
Were you in high school when you did that?
yeah, that was freshman year of high school.
Nice. Good for you. I think it's such a great thing if everyone starts a little side gig, no matter what it is. You get so many valuable lessons that you can learn and the confidence. That's a
Absolutely.
Catalina wine mixer. I just saw that movie this week. Awesome. Connor, thank you so much, man. This was so great to hear your story about what it's like been working at Amazon and super valuable. We had another Amazon employee on a few weeks ago and different departments. So it was interesting to hear the two perspectives um and what that's been like for you. But we thank you so much
Absolutely. I would
for
just
coming
say,
on. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I was just going to offer, if there are any, I've not kept up with the chat, so my apologies, but
Yeah.
if there are any outstanding questions or follow-ups, Jordy, that you might receive from the audience here, just shoot 'em my way via email or
Oh,
LinkedIn,
thank you,
and I'm
man.
happy to respond.
We appreciate that, man.
Of
Connor's
course.
going to be one of our longtime mentors here at Seven Eagles, so we're super appreciative of you and what you're doing. And we wish you all the best, man, in your career. You're off to great places, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Take care, buddy.
Take care.
All right, guys. Why don't we take a 20